And there's no way an expansion of the lottery, the governor's proposal is not the opening the door to full-blown gambling in the state. And if it happens and it's successful, Katie bar the door. I understand that there are tough decisions that the governor is facing, but I don't think he can attempt to balance the state budget by mortgaging Ohio's families and Ohio's values. Now I'd like to address quickly some of the reasons why State Issue 3, which you will see on the November ballot, is bad public policy. Even for those who support casinos in Ohio, Brent Larkin, the former editorial page editor of the Cleveland Plain Dealer, recently laid something out about this in a column, Sunday's paper. And it's interesting because I think the Plain Dealer supported Learn and Earn, didn't it? Yeah, back in 2006, and I think that Brent was one of the individuals that he was head of the editorial board. We tried very hard. We weren't successful.
He yelled at me a lot.
He yelled at me a lot. Yeah, well. But let me talk about it. It will create a monopoly for casinos in the state that would have both table games and slot machines. And I think all of you know, and I hope that you've read the Constitution. Could you pass me that file? I appreciate it. The blue one. Okay, yeah. Here it is. I hope that if you just read the constitutional amendment, and it's so much like the one back in 06, isn't it? They write in four locations the exact metes and bounds of where it's going to be. You read through this, and there's nothing in here that says that they're really going to apply for a license. One of the companies, Penn National, has a racetrack in Toledo. They have gambling casinos down in Indiana, and if I were in their shoes, what I'd do is I just get the franchise for Cincinnati and I'd open it up because it will compete with my casinos that I've got in Indiana. And if you remember, Penn National was one of the biggest opponents of the proposal last year to have that casino down in Clinton County. They were out spending money. We got to defeat it. And the people say, why did they want to defeat it? Well, of course they wanted to defeat it because they looked at the one in Clinton County as competition to the one that they had in Indiana. And the other one in here that I think is neat is that they provide in the Constitution, listen to this one, that if other states surrounding Ohio change what's part of their gambling procedure, that it automatically will apply to the state of Ohio. Think about that. In other words, that we're going to leave in the hands of other states to dictate what we're going to be able to do in the state of Ohio without any consideration by the state legislature or anyone else. As I say, I would hope that Ohioans would read the actual language in here, and their common sense would start to generate some questions about, the $250 million for each one of them. Tell me, folks, where are you going to borrow $250 million today in the economy that we have? I mean, I don't know where you're going to get the money. I don't know whether I don't know which bank, especially with the casinos going bankrupt around the country, is somebody going to come up and give them the money to pay for these casinos? Anyhow. When states use a competitive bidding process, the results are always better for taxpayers. It's another argument that Brent made in his article in Pennsylvania. The one-time licensing fee to be paid the state for the right to operate a casino by these four is significantly less than the licenses may be worth on the open market. Issue 3 calls for a fee of $50 million per casino. The casino plan for Illinois will bring a fee of more than $400 million. State officials in Massachusetts may ask $500 million each for 2 casinos being discussed there. And in 2007, 2 Indiana racetracks coughed up a casino licensing fee of $250 million each. Okay? Compare that with what we're talking about. And then, if you look at the horse racing tracks that are part of the governor's plan, they're going to pay $65 million each to build slot machine parlors on their properties. And I'd like to know where they're going to borrow the money, because they aren't in very good shape. And according to Mr. Larkin, Jeffrey Hook, a Maryland-based casino expert and investment banker, said a fair price for each casino license would be in the $300 million to $500 million range. That's what he had to say. And he described the governor's deal with the racetracks as the, quote, the greatest taxpayer rip-off in Ohio history. And the quote, and this is Mr. Hoke's, his name is Jeffrey Hoke. He's a Maryland-based casino expert. That's what he had to say. Finally, the casinos proposed by issue 3 would pay only a 33% tax on gross revenue, which its proponents are crowing about. Now, that's below the average paid by casinos in neighboring states of West Virginia and Pennsylvania rates, which reach more than 55%. And the amendment contains a loophole in the definition of gross casino revenues that would cause no collection of taxes whatsoever on cash wages. And I know there's a controversy about that. This means a significant portion of their gambling revenues would be permanently tax-free. And the purpose of, the way you read the language is, in the Constitution, is that any of the revenue that they get for buying, what are they, these little trinkets they buy to put in machines or whatever it is, pieces of paper, that the proceeds from those are included as revenue, but it doesn't say if I use quarters in the machine that would be included as their profits. And that's a real question about something that will be debated.